the chemistry crosses through the placenta, and the fetus, unaware of the details, still has the emotion of anger or happiness or rejection or whatever the mother is feeling. The child will have the exact same feeling. If the mother repeats on a pattern, the child learns the pattern, and when it's born, will have a pattern of behavior without even knowing the words or the interactions involved. Will already have the chemistry and organization, the emotions and behaviors already programmed more or less to respond the way the mother did.
Sounds pretty overwhelming.
Well, it is, and yet, the whole fact is, well, we can say, listen, I don't want to hear about this stuff because it's really scary, and I don't feel good about it and all that, and I'm going, well, that's really great, except you need to get out of the matrix. You need to know how it works.
Well, we want to know what you did, Bruce.
Oh, well, there were several different tracks. The first thing, because I didn't know anything other than the fact that I was aware that psychologists tell us that 70% or more of our thoughts are negative and redundant.
Okay.
And these are the subconscious mind thoughts that are just fleeting through your head all the time. Well, if it's subconscious mind, then those thoughts are the ones that are actually manifesting your life. So when you're at the traffic light in your car and you're thinking about, oh, this person, oh, that's not going to work out right, or this can't happen, or this will never be, when those words are being said, you're actually scripting the life that's in front of you with that. And there's a point where if you can just stop and be like a witness to your own thoughts for a moment and go, oh my God, what am I saying? My God, I can't have a great life if you hear those, guesses about what was going to happen in the future. They're all so negative and scary. And then they turn out and then it's like, yeah, I knew life was going to be. Your thoughts are a script in action. And if you change these thoughts, you change the script. That's exactly how it works. But you have to be conscious and aware of that, and that's very difficult for most people because their lives get so busy. And you say, well, how come the conscious mind doesn't run at any more than 5%? And the answer is this. The conscious mind is unique because it can go into the future, it can go back into the past, it can solve problems, it can do all these things. The subconscious mind is like a jukebox. It's got tape in it, you push the button, play the tape, and there's no future or past. If you recorded it when you're 4 years old and now you're 40 and you push the button, it's the same tape. You're still playing the same tape. It's present time, always. That's the way it is. So the nature of the mind is if the conscious mind starts to divert its attention from what a task or whatever's going on, the subconscious mind will automatically take over the task, but will do it based on the programming of how that task was downloaded in the first place. So conscious is reprogrammable, and this is the fun part because I think we really give the subconscious such a bad name. Everyone's like, oh, the font of hell. The darkest bad doo-doo is in there.
Well, that's probably true, right?
And the reality is, the simple truth is, the subconscious mind is like a cold steel tape player. It records a program, it plays it back, and the significance is, well, if you get crappy programs and you play them back, then you get a crappy life. But what if you got good programs? What if you were, I think there's a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes, there sure is.
And basically what it talks about is if you grew up in a poor family, your fundamental programs that you downloaded with before you were 6 would be those programs that would ensure you that you will stay in that poverty. And the rich kids grew up in a family where all the way they behaved and all the programs that the kid downloaded from their family would ensure that they ended up being a rich person. And the interesting part is, both these people from the poor and from the rich family could go out and daydream their life away, and the one from the rich family, after daydreaming, will still be rich, and the daydreaming poor guy will still be poor, because 95% of our life came from that programming. And so instead of blaming the subconscious, it's really no blame at all, because our teachers, our parents...
Blame our parents.
Yeah, but they were programmed by their parents and their community, who was programmed by their parents and their community. So, where did the original glitch come in? Well, who cares? It's so far back now, it's irrelevant. But the thing that you're trying to get me to say, and skirting the issue, is you can stop this at any time you want, but you have to be conscious. And I want to let people know that most people out there in the audience, just a suggestion, I will suggest that there was a time in your life where you actually did run your life with consciousness, And at that moment, which I'll tell you in a minute, I would suggest if you go back to it, you would probably say you were the healthiest, the happiest, you enjoyed life so much you didn't even want to sleep because it was unfolding with heaven on earth. And I'm going to say, so when was that time period? And then I'm going to say, go back to some point in your life where you fell head over heels in love with somebody. And it was this big love affair honeymoon thing that kicked off this whole thing. And I'll say during that honeymoon, and during this initial love period where you were so excited about life, were you healthy? Probably very. Did you have energy? You probably made love for days, you know. Were you happy? Unbelievably happy. And if you looked at life at that moment, you would probably say it was heaven on earth. And now what I'm going to tell you is that was not an accident. That was not a coincidence. That was a manifestation. And we did this ourselves. So if you can go back and experience, then guess what? It wasn't a coincidence or an accident. It was an active thing that you did. And that if you understood it, then you could have a honeymoon for the rest of your life rather than for whatever short period of time you experienced it. And what was it? And the answer was, you were self-reflective, you were conscious, you were mindful. You didn't let the program run the show. Person you think you really are, you were going to make that person be there right now, and you were going to watch it being self-reflective, self-conscious, to make sure that you were this person, and therefore at that moment you were creating life from your conscious mind and not from the habits. And that break when you let go of the habits and started to do it with your conscious mind was a period that you would say, well, that was as close to heaven on earth as I could sing.
And can it be sustained?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, while you're talking, I'm going, isn't it kind of contagious to shift out of the subconscious programming? Can that not be, passed on?
It can be passed on. The whole thing, the first thing we have to do is just first at least get the awareness of this.
Right, okay.
Because without the awareness, here's the truth. I'm Joe, average Joe. I walk down the street with my desires to have success in whatever I'm talking about, and all this woe is falling on my shoulders, and I'm thinking, well, the universe is against me. Why? Because I wanted to have success, and look what I ended up getting. And then what does that make the average Joe person say? Well, I'm a victim because it's not what I wanted. I wanted this other stuff. And so I didn't, so obviously nature is against me. But then I say, no, wait, let's become educated, become aware that you're operating 95% of the time from this invisible habitual program that you got from others, and that these are where the limitations and all the problems come from. And so it makes a difference from the first view of, oh, I'm a victim because I wanted this and I got that. Turns out the next understanding says, currently I'm a victim because apparently my behavior that I'm not seeing is sabotaging me. And if I change that programming, then I can be the master. You can rewrite the programs, and here's the fun part. You put the right programs in, all the right win-win, love, and harmony, balance programs in your subconscious. You know what the fun part is? You don't even have to think about your life. It will automatically, unconsciously take you to the top of the pile because the subconscious does it anyway without you working on it. So the fun part about it is if you would have gotten the best programming in the world, you could have daydreamed your entire life away and been the ultimate success of the planet. And that's
But now we're having to really create it.
Well, we have to know that that's how it works. Then I recognize, well, maybe our programs are not supporting us, and that if we rewrite the programming, then automatically it will turn our life around. And just to give people a little hint here, don't have to aggravate yourself and irritate your life by going over your history. It's not relevant for a simple reason. You're operating 95% of your life from the subconscious. So your life is a printout of your program.
Right.
And what it says is the things that work because you have built-in programs that encourage whatever that is. The things you struggle with, you're struggling with because you have conflicting programs that are not going to support that destination.